Okay, so to be able to graph a simple rational function, our first step is to find our asymptotes, and our asymptotes are h and k. So if I'm looking at the asymptotes, my h is x minus h and my k is on the outside. So x equals my h, which is the opposite sign, so it's -2, and this is going to be my vertical asymptote, and then my y equals k, which is -1, and this is going to be my horizontal asymptote. So let's draw my asymptotes. My vertical asymptote is at -2, so draw a straight line as best as I can at -2, and then my horizontal asymptote is at y equals -1, so here's my other asymptote. Alright, that's my first step, is to be able to find them and draw them. My second step is I have to find 3 points to the right and 3 points to the left. Well, if I start off with the left, I'm looking at -3, I'm looking at -4, and -5. So if I'm looking at my points to the left, I have -3, -4, and -5. If I want to look at points to the right, I have going to be -1, 0, and 1. So if I'm looking at my right, and let's rewrite this, so I'm going to have my left and then I'm going to have my right. I have decided it's going to be -1, 0, and 1. And this is my next step, is to just find 3 points to the left and 3 points to the right. Alright, did that. Then what I want to do is fill it back into the original equation. So if I'm just focusing on the left, alright, my original equation was -4 over x plus 2 minus 1. And I'm filling everything in for x. So you're going to fill in for x. Let's do that. If I fill in for x, I get -4, and then I get -3 plus 2 minus 1, which ends up being -4 over -1 minus 1. Simplified gets you 4 minus 1, or 3. So then what I'm going to do at -3, I'm going to plot the point 3 on my graph. So at -3, I'm going to, and this is a little bit crooked. Alright, so at -3, I'm going to plot the point at 3, and then there's my point. So then, let's go back to -4. So now I plug in -4, so then I'm going to get -4 over not -3 anymore, but -4 plus 2 minus 1, which equals -4 over -2, and minus 1, which equals a +2 minus 1, which gives you a +1. So plug at -4, I'm going to be a 1. So at -4, I'm going to have a +1. And then lastly, we're going to go to -5. We're going to plug -5 in for x. So I have -4 over -5 plus 2 minus 1, which equals -4 over -3 minus 1, which actually gives you a +4/3 minus 1. And then 4/3 really can be considered 1.33 repeated. And if I minus 1 from that, I am 0.33 repeated, or 1/3, which I can plot as best of my knowledge of what I look like. So at -5, you're plotting 1/3, and 1/3 is probably about here. Now, after that, you want to draw your branches as close as you can to your asymptotes, because I do know there are points here. All I know is that I'm not going to be hitting the asymptotes, but I do know it gets closer to them. So even though that's a little bit wonky, that's kind of what it should look like. A curve, not as wiggly as mine, but should be a curve. Now, if we do the same thing for the right side, let's just find the points for the right side. So, right side, I have -1, 0, and 1. And because we've done really a lot of the work for the left side, I'm just going to kind of skip through a lot of the arithmetic. So I have -4 over -1 plus 2 minus 1, which gives me -4 over a +1, which is -4 minus 1, which equals -5. And then at 0, I have -4 over 2 minus 1, because it's 0 plus 2, which is just left as that. So it's -2 minus 1, which equals -3. And lastly, I have -4. It's going to be 1 plus 2, which equals 3. minus 1, and that gives you negative 7 over 3, or what you can decide is it's going to be a negative 2.33 or negative 2 1/3, all of which I can plot. So let's go back to my graph and plot all of those. So at negative 1, I said it was going to be negative 5, meaning we're down in this corner. So it's going to be from the actual axis, so from this starting point. It's not going to be from the red line, it's going to be from your axis point. So I have negative 1 goes down to negative 5, which is right here. Then 0 is negative 3, and then 1 is negative 2.33 or 1/3. And so now the other side of my graph is looking like that, or even you can draw it a little bit closer to your asymptote. Remember, you want it to go through your points and then through the, not through the asymptote, but getting close. So that's how you would graph a simple rational function. You would pick 3 points to the left after you graphed your asymptotes and 3 points on the right of your vertical asymptote. Remember, we're not looking at the horizontal asymptote. When you pick your points, you're looking at the vertical asymptote.